collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Chewbacca from episode 4 A New Hope. Now hopefully you've already watched my two previous reviews of Han Solo and Ben Kenobi. They were included in the same wave and both of those figures were all new, completely new tooling. This Chewbacca apparently has a new head and new legs because he does have barbell hips. Previously, all of the other Chewbaccas that we've had over the years have had swivel hips. And in fact, a lot of this sculpt, I think, goes way back to like 2004, which is when we got the Chewbacca in the Vintage Original Trilogy collection. It was on the classic cardback in terms of the image, but it was on a Return of the Jedi logo for some reason. Now, this Chewbacca is based on his appearance in Star Wars A New Hope. You can tell by his slick back hairstyle, and we will be comparing him to the previous version from Star Wars A New Hope, which I believe was VC381, which again was just a complete repaint of other Chewbaccas that we've had in the past. Now what they have done with this one is give him a new card back, so they haven't just done a straight reissue of the card back with a retooled figure inside. They've kind of given it a complete update, and we'll take a look at that card back right now. Alright, so I think I said in my overview video, and also when they first revealed this as well, that I do love the image that they've chosen. And this image looks to be straight from the docking bay scene, I think. So this is where obviously Garandan grassed up the heroes of their whereabouts, and the stormtroopers managed to get there, but the heroes managed to fend them off and, you know, make their escape. So I'm pretty sure that that image is from there, but I like the image in general. I think it's a fantastic image. There he is in the bubble. You can even see there that he does have those new hips. The head sculpt doesn't look too different to another one that I'm looking at right now that I have next to me, which we will compare. VC381, there's the bio on the back if you just want to quickly read that. They have kept the yellow name pill and panel behind the figure, but look at that glorious double racetrack design for the Star Wars logo. The Hildebrand logo in the corner there, which doesn't have the warning label covering half of it up. They've moved it down to the bottom like they're doing with all of these now Star Wars cards anyway. So that is pretty cool. So that's the card back. Right, let's get the figure open and compare him against the previous release. Alright then, so here is Chewbacca out of the packaging, the new version on the right hand side compared to the original version on the left hand side. I say original version, this is the Vintage Collection version, the Star Wars A New Hope version. I think it's VC140. You can tell because he does have the slick back hair. Over the years, they have released other Chewbaccas with different head sculpts, namely the Return of the Jedi version that had like almost like a center parting in the hair. And I think the last time they released that Chewbacca was with the AT-ST from the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. He came loose with that AT-ST, but you could also get that figure in the 3.75 inch black series. And as I mentioned, you know, we've just had countless Chewbaccas over the years basically, and they've all used this base sculpt, which goes back to, as I said, 2004 I believe. So as you can see, the difference being is that this one now has the barbell hips, this one had the swivel hips, this has got a different head. We will do a close-up look at that head in a second, but they both have the growling facial expression. What I would say is that the new legs on the Chewbacca has actually made him slightly taller than the original version, which I don't think can be a bad thing. Let's just bring in Han Solo ever so quickly so you can just see the height difference of the figures. Chewbacca is a big character, which is obviously screen accurate, which is great. So I'm loving the look of those two together there. Ever so quickly, before we take a look at the figure and the differences and all the articulation, the blaster that he comes with, his bowcaster, is exactly the same bowcaster that we've had, you know, since the dawn of time. And it's always packed in two separate pieces, and you just have to basically put that piece on there. So we'll do that right now. And there you have it. There it is assembled. So we'll make sure we get a shot of Chewie later on, you know, holding the bowcaster and what have you. But at the end of the day, he's got the same hands. They have not replaced the hands. I was never a massive fan of these hands anyway, but we'll talk about that in a second. Alright, so here is a close-up look of the two Chewbaccas on the right-hand side. This is the new one compared to the original. There isn't too much difference, to be honest, but apparently it does have a new head. I think maybe the teeth are updated. I think the teeth look a lot better on the new one, much more screen accurate, and I just think it looks a bit more like Chewbacca, basically. but they are very, very similar. It's almost like it's just his mouth that's been updated, really. And obviously his fur sort of changed colours from film to film. So if you have the Return of the Jedi version of Chewbacca, then, you know, he will look a little bit different to this. Sometimes the, you know, highlights on his fur changes from figure to figure. But these look fairly similar, although this one does have like a darker sort of upper torso, if you like. All right, so that's the comparison out the way. Let's take a really close-up look at this new Chewie. I really do like this head sculpt. You can see there the teeth look absolutely fantastic. I think on the previous version they were only sort of maybe painted at the front, whereas these go all the way back into the mouth. And I just think that's an amazing look for Chewie. And then if we move the figure out slightly so we can just see the rest of him. Obviously he has that famous bandolier which goes all the way down the front, and then there's the satchel on the side of his hip, painted all the way round with those silver details. So of course in an ideal world we would have got an all new Chewie with new arms, new torso, new everything. But what they've given us is a Chewie with a new head and new legs. But I've got to say the legs do really help a lot. When I first saw this revealed, I thought the fur looked a little bit too sort of straight, if you like, compared to his body. But when I look at the other Chewie, they seem to be pretty similar anyway. So obviously Chewie kind of had like pretty skinny legs and everything, didn't he? He was quite a tall, sort of lanky Wookiee. And there he is, looking pretty awesome. But let's take a look at this articulation. Okay, so the head, you're not going to get a great range of motion on the head because obviously it's got this big fur piece down the front and the back, which is going to stop you sort of twisting it too much. But there is a little bit of movement there. Same arms on the figure, so he has the hinges at the shoulders, they go all the way round. Hinges at the elbow, which go about 90, and then unfortunately just the swivel wrists. He has a joint at the upper torso, allowing for some movement, and also at the lower torso waist as well. That joint is a little bit stiff, but it can be moved. And then we have the new barbell hips on Chewie. So there you go, with a cut at the top of the thigh, and then the knee joints, which go about 90, a little past 90, and then also he has rocker ankles as well. So complete upgrade on the legs of Chewie, which is obviously going to allow us to get him into some, you know, better poses than you could with those awful swivel hips on the previous Chewie. Alright then, so here is a battle posed Chewie, and you can really just see the stark difference. This pose was not achievable with this previous Chewie because of the awful swivel hips. And now, of course, do we want an all-new Chewie? Would we have preferred an all-new Chewie like the Black Series would get? Yes, absolutely. He is still missing hinges at the wrist, which is a bit of a problem, especially if you want to sort of really get him holding that blaster nicely. But if there's one thing that the figure really needed the most, it was most certainly hinges or some kind of articulation at the hip. But we've got everything now. We've got rocker ankles, barbell hips, everything going on with this Chewie, and it makes the world of difference. And also the head sculpt is phenomenal as well, in my opinion, compared to this one. Although they are very similar, I think just the way they've done the mouth is a huge improvement. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members as always. Your support for me and my channel is greatly appreciated, so thank you so much. Thank you for watching, everybody, and we shall see you on the next one.